What month and year was your surrogate baby born in?
The surrogate baby was born in November of 2021.
What originally inspired you to look into surrogacy?
What originally inspired me to look into surrogacy was seeing, when I was trying to get pregnant with my first, seeing all these women who had been trying for years and years. And that's when I first really learned of the term surrogate and what it meant. And then when I did get pregnant with my first, it was a very easy pregnancy, easy delivery. So that's when the gears really started turning. And then when I knew I was done after my second was born is when, and after he got out of the infant stage, that's really when I started seriously considering it and decided to go for it.
What was your favorite or most memorable moment during the whole surrogacy process?
The most memorable moment, and I don't know if this is still part of the surrogacy process, but for sure when he was born and his mother got to hold him for the first time, that was for sure the most memorable. For sure the shots hurt. They did, like for sure. It made me empathize with a lot of the women who go through IVF and have to do all that work and no baby comes. Or even, I empathize with everyone who's going through IVF because I only did half of it. The shots were very memorable for me, but the greatest thing was seeing his mother hold him for the first time. That was incredible. She relaxed. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, the shots are not fun, but worth it in the end.
Oh, totally. Totally. Absolutely. Yes. The beginning and the end, I guess, then is the best way to put it. The beginning and the end.
What was the most unexpected part of this process?
The process in getting pregnant with a surrogate, with an embryo that's not your own, that's a lot more detailed and scheduled than I had anticipated, because I just got pregnant the natural way. Luckily, I was one of the lucky people that happened to. So seeing all those steps and how strict the schedule is with medicine and timing and all the doctor's appointments you have, it's very different than just getting pregnant. Like initially, because if you get pregnant naturally, it's like, okay, we'll see you once a month. With this, it's like, oh, you got to come back week after week for ultrasound, blood work, yada yada yada, making sure your levels are correct. So it wasn't bad, but that was unexpected. I wasn't expecting to see so many medical professionals at the beginning. But looking back, it obviously makes sense. It's just there's so much prep work that I didn't realize was needed. But it's all very important.
How was the matching process? So I know you got to think really far back.
Yeah.
How was the matching process?
That was a while ago, wasn't it? I guess that was 2020, huh? The matching process, I feel, was really easy in that way, only because I think with all the initial questions that surrogacy agency has and what your preferences are, you need to know that ahead of time. I think that made it pretty easy. I wasn't expecting to get matched so quickly. I should have on my end since being the surrogate, but I wasn't really expecting that. But I thought we matched up. I thought we matched up well, and we matched with the right person very quick. And I know that doesn't happen a lot, it doesn't always happen that way. So that was nice.
How was the pregnancy, and how involved were the intended parents during the pregnancy, or intended parent during the pregnancy?
The pregnancy was very easy. It was a lot like my other two. The only difference is, and I think this is because of the drugs you take, but the only big difference is I was a lot more tired, a lot more moody in the first trimester than I was with the other two, for sure. But I really think that's due to that had to have been the drugs, because I guess those make you nuts. The progesterone I don't know. It didn't mess with me in a bad way, but I really felt the mood swings for sure, and I was exhausted. The intended parent in my process was involved. To be honest, I thought she would be more involved. Not that she didn't care. I just thought she would be more involved than she was. I think she just and I don't know what it's like to be an intended parent, but I think she was caught up in her own prepping for her child to come. So I don't think she knew about my past pregnancies, obviously, and she knew this one was going well. So she was involved, and I kept her in the loop every time I had an appointment. I do sometimes wish she was a little more involved. It's not like I couldn't call her or couldn't text her about something. But she was in. I think she just realized she wanted to give me as much space as I needed and didn't want to overwhelm me with things, which is understandable. So she was involved enough. It's not, I wasn't ignored, so that was nice.
Also, too, COVID, I'm sure played a role.
COVID, yeah, and I mean, I knew we would never really meet up unless it was an important appointment, and that's fine. I sometimes, looking back on it, I didn't get checked up on a lot. Like, I feel maybe that's just a personality difference too. Like, I'd probably at least ask weekly how my surrogate was doing. And I didn't always get that, which is okay. We talked enough, and even now, if I called her today, I'd feel comfortable that she would answer or at least call me back and we could chat about whatever. So we have a good relationship in that way.
How did you talk to other people about the process? So about surrogacy, like your friends, family, or possibly even strangers?
Well, how I talked about surrogacy, my family knew ahead of time. I think a few family members even knew before I matched. So we just told them what was going on, and I had to correct a few family members because they would call me like, "Oh, you're a great surrogate mother," and I go, "Well, I'm not the mother. You can just call me like the surrogate or whatever." I didn't really reference gestational carrier because that's a little technical, but my friends were all very supportive. It wasn't really needed, but they all volunteered to help watch my kids. As for strangers, I think I only had to explain it to a couple people when we were with a group of people I just met, and we were talking. I was very, obviously pregnant in October and stuff, and we had a couple Halloween get-together things, and they thought I was having a third kid, and so I had to explain to them. But people just walking by, or a cashier would comment, "Oh, you're carrying beautifully," I wouldn't engage in that kind of thing. I'd just say thank you and move on. So there's really only a couple strangers I had to explain it to. Otherwise, with COVID, truthfully, it was hard. It was easy to kind of hide and just be pregnant and, just have a few close people really know what was going on.
How did you talk to your kids about surrogacy before, during, and after the birth?
So I talked to my kids about surrogacy. I didn't really tell them beforehand because there wasn't really much to tell other than I was just going to a lot of doctor's appointments. And they're young. At the time they were 4 to 5 and 3 to 4. So they weren't that old to comprehend a lot. But when we after the embryo was transferred and the pregnancy kind of got confirmed and that kind of thing, we actually got a couple books to help explain, and then the intended parent was, because we Zoomed with her quite a bit, so they knew who she was and they had talked to her before, so it was just an explanation of, this is so-and-so's baby and in mama's belly. And then we had a couple books that really helped explain things. My daughter really didn't. It's funny, she's the one who didn't want a new baby in the house. So that was very easy for her to say, okay, give the baby to the mom and then you can come home. My son grew a little more attached, but he wasn't devastated by anything. He liked saying, "Oh, mama has a baby in her belly," that kind of thing. But they all knew that they both knew the baby was not coming home. So when they came in, with my husband, came and picked me up at the hospital. They said, "Oh, no more baby." I go, "No, the mom brought him home," and that kind of thing. So they adjusted very well. My son would sometimes ask me after, "There's no more baby," and I go, "No." He still has me read the surrogacy book sometimes, which is good. It's just funny. I think he likes the pictures. So yeah, it was just I think my kids were young enough not to get attached, and obviously my daughter does not want another baby, so in that way it was easier.
How was your delivery and post-pregnancy?
Delivery, great. It was just like the delivery was really great. It was just like my other two. It was a little longer than my son's, but not anything to speak about really. And then, yeah, afterward was basically the same. I didn't have any problems. So I was lucky in that way. And, the nurses were great. The hospital was different that I gave birth at than my other two, but not much to speak of. Just the usual, luckily, usually run-of-the-mill delivery and postpartum.
What were your feelings when you saw the IP hold their baby for the first time?
The feeling I got, truthfully, when I saw his mom hold him for the first time was relief that I was not bringing a baby home. And that, honest to God, is the first thing I thought of. The second thing was a lot of joy, because she was so thankful. She was very nervous throughout the day, and she was kind of nervous leading up to the delivery, which is very normal. But when she knew he was safe and, he was fine and everything went well, very much calm, relief. And that made me feel good, because how could you not be excited for someone who just had a baby, a healthy baby at that? So first was relief that I did not have a baby to take care of. And two was just overwhelming joy. There's no other feeling like it, I don't think.
What was one thing you wished you would have had in your hospital bag that you forgot, or perhaps something you want to make sure, like you overpacked and you want to make sure that other people have in their bag?
I feel like everyone is a little different. I personally did not bring too much, just a change of clothes and, a charger for my phone, because I feel like I sleep a lot after. And then all your other medical needs are taken care of. So, but that's just me. Or maybe a book. I think I brought a book this time. But that's just me. I didn't, because with my first two, I think I brought more with my first, as everyone does. But I feel like if you know what's going on and how you're going to be, you'll know what to bring yourself. I just didn't need to bring a lot. I'm trying to even think, because they even give you socks. So I just brought comfortable clothes to change into, if I'm being honest. Because every birth I've had, they've given me all the other stuff I need. So it's just a matter of preference and any downtime you have. Because I had, in the delivery room, I had my mom, the IP, and the IP's mom. Luckily, we could all be there, even with COVID stuff going on. So we kind of entertained each other the whole day. Nice. And, my labor it was about 8 hours, I would say. So it wasn't even like I was there for days. So I feel like it just depends on what you want in your downtime, but I didn't bring too much.
What did your kids or your partner say when meeting the baby?
None of them did. So I don't know, because of COVID, really, no one met the baby. And I went home the very next day. So there was that too. But yeah, no one met the baby in my family.
What is your relationship or contact with intended parents now?
So my contact with the intended parent now, we text. I haven't called her. But we've texted a lot, like each month that his birthday day comes up, we text, and she sends pictures at least, and sometimes in between. As of right now, he's only 3.5 months or so. So there's not too much going on there, but she will send me pictures, and it's pretty cool to see what he looks like and what he's doing. If anything, he has a really cute smile, so that's nice to see. So I'm assuming I'll keep texting her, and she reaches out to me all the time. So I'm sure we'll keep it up as long as we feel comfortable. So right now we're in a good place, and it's nice to see him grow and is happy.
What were some of the benefits of working with an agency?
so many. So with working with an agency, it just takes a lot of weight off your shoulders. I've never done an independent journey, but I can only imagine how much work that is if you don't have an agency to support you. They take care of some appointments for the most part, at least communicating with the clinics and all that, but just like they have everything's ready to go. You just kind of find your own lawyer, cross the T's, dot the I's for the most part. And then, the money situation can be kind of awkward. So going through a third party doing that makes it just makes it a lot easier in a lot of ways. Like I said, I don't know how people do it without an agency, to be truthful. It just takes a lot of the legwork out. And I'll add this too, the vetting process is really important. With me, for the IP, all of that, and making sure they think you'll match well, all of that, that's a lot of work too. So that's very, very important, all that stuff. So it saves a lot of legwork, and it's kind of an insurance policy that you're going to have a good fit and have a good journey, I think.
What words of wisdom would you share with other or newer or somebody considering to be a gestational carrier?
I would say the most important thing, make sure you're in the right mindset for it. You really, and it changes with every kid you have, but make sure you are ready to not get too attached to the child, for one. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but the baby is not yours to take home. You are not the priority in the relationship in a way. Like being a gestational carrier is very important, but you're not taking care of this child. The mother is, not you. So you need to be able to be in the right mindset to part with the child. Like I said, I felt relief when I didn't have to bring the baby home. That's kind of how it should be. Just being in the right mindset is really everything. If you think, oh, I'm gonna have a baby, and some relationships are like this, but I feel like very few, but it's gonna be like, oh, I'll have the baby, I'll get to see the baby and hold and do this and have any say in what the name is. It's like, well, no, you're not to be harsh, but you're a vessel growing a life, and that's kind of it. Then you kind of have, you can create your own relationship with your IP if you want, but I think being in the wrong mindset and having someone else's child is really a recipe for disaster. And that's where the vetting process comes in for surrogacy. But yeah, just the right mindset. Because I've had people come up and say to me, oh, I could never, because I would get attached to the child and da-da-da. And I'm like, well, then, to be honest, you wouldn't be a good surrogate, You just have to go in there saying, I'm doing a good thing, and in 9 months, it's potentially over if you don't carry on a relationship. You're not a mother to the child. And that's what's, I think, important to remember.
If you decided to be a gestational carrier again, what would be the reason?
I think if I were to be a gestational carrier again, it'd be the same reason the first time, just to help someone who can't have a child have a child. And it's something I think about often if I want to do again. But that's mainly for selfish reasons, like we'll see how much weight I lose and that kind of thing. But I think, it'd be the same reasons I'd do it again, because I had a lot of joy. That end goal, seeing the mother or parent, I should say, the intended parent, hold their child for the first time is, that's everything. That was wonderful. And like I said, it was easy for me because I had easy pregnancies. So for me to just kind of grin and bear it for 9 months to do that is incredible.
Is there anything else you want to add or share about your experience?
The only thing I've been thinking about, I wish the thing I would change, and this is not anything against an agency or anything. I wish I was more vocal to clinics. I didn't think I could talk to the clinic as much as I probably should have. Not that and that's just me not speaking up. Like after the embryo transfer, I thought I had to like stay at home, or I'm sorry, like stay at the hotel room or wherever and like not move and be very cautious. But when I was there after the transfer, I'm laughing because yeah, after the transfer, they were like, oh, you're gonna go home and see your kids? And I go, oh, well, no, I thought I had to sit around. They're like, no, go home. And I'm like, oh, and had I known that, because I could have asked that to the clinic easily and I didn't, I just assumed things. So I think I just would have liked to be my own advocate a little bit more. Like overall, everything was fine, but I wish I spoke up a little more so I could know different things. And I feel like every clinic's different, but I feel like you need to be your own advocate sometimes. And I just hadn't been in that situation before, so that's why I didn't know. But if I do it next time, I'll know to do that for sure. But other than that, I don't think I'd change anything. The only thing, maybe if I do it again, I might try to see if I get IPs that are a little more, want to be a little more involved in the pregnancy and aren't afraid to talk to me about things. Not that the IP I had was afraid. I think she just wanted to give me a lot of space. But I would like to have a friendlier relationship with the next family if I do decide to do it again. So I think those are the only two things. Everything else was pretty flawless. So if I could change anything, it would be I didn't have to do shots, but that's not possible. So the other two things, I would change. I think it's a great experience, and I know I feel like I've read a couple things that say surrogacy demand is going up. So I think if you're able to, because I feel like, granted, I don't have one. But if you have a full-time job, it's still something you can do to help, if you wanted to do something. I was lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom, so appointment making was easier for me, but I really think it's a great thing to do. And it's not, if you go the right way and have everything set up the way you're comfortable with, it's a wonderful thing to do. And you won't regret it. You won't regret it.